And here we are, another Friday night, October 24th, week 10. Jim West and Dale Rost with Talking Preps Friday night. So, Dale, what's on your mind tonight?
Football.
Okay, that's
Why
interesting.
don't you? Yeah. uh, why don't you start by telling us about your game?
Well, I'll tell you what. First thing was from Hillsborough to Gardner. Usually, it's about 45 to 50 minutes. It took me about an hour and 35 to get there today, and so I got there just in the nick of time, about 20 minutes before the game started. But it was worth it. It was worth the drive. Um, Fuquay scores a touchdown, then South Gardner scores two touchdowns, and at halftime I think it was 14 all, and might have it backed up. I think South Gardner scored the first touchdown, then Fuquay scored two, and South Gardner scored one. Two different teams though. South Gardner spread, likes to throw the ball, likes to have a quarterback run. Quarterback, great athlete. Fuquay, Verena, Dale, you would love that team. They love the wings. They love playing wing offenses. They sometimes would play out basically out of the wing T formation, and at other times they would have a multi set where they had a couple of receivers go out with just one running back. Usually that's when they were behind, but it was a fun game to watch. It was two contrasting styles, and Fuquay is one that I love a team that can control the clock. The problem with both those teams, though, they had trouble stopping the other team just basically because they kind of lacked depth on defense, and you can see that as the game progressed, the defenses actually got a little bit more worn out, I guess, but with both teams. But a great game. South Gardner holds on and wins 28-23. Fuquay did have the ball with about 2 minutes left. It was on their 15-yard line. They passed four different times, and four times it was incomplete pass, and then South Gardner just needed out. But a great game. I love watching. I don't know about you, Dale, but I love watching games when you have two different offenses that are. It's almost like a chess match. You know, one team was wing T, the other one was spread. Seeing how the defenses react, how the coaches made adjustments. Both teams, I thought, played better in the second half, to be honest with you. But it was just a matter of the defenses just getting tired and making, these fundamental lapses at the end. So, but a great game.
Yeah, for me, I like to see defensive games first that are defensive first, and I certainly saw one of those tonight for most of the game. But offenses are certainly fun to watch, and I enjoy watching how teams can scheme against a defense that's been shutting them down, and make their adjustments to be able to ultimately come out ahead.
Right.
That's always that battle of a defensive mind and an offensive mind to see who can win. That's always a lot of fun to watch. But I like Smash Mouth. That's my number one thing is I love to see hitting, and boy, did I see some hitting tonight. I saw big kids play tonight, and just a tremendous amount of hitting. So hopefully, we'll have Coach Baker will join us. I talked with him after the game. He's afraid he might say some things. I told him just come on and say whatever, Coach. The game was a fantastic game. I'm going to say though, Jim, while you had a time getting to your game, once I got to the stadium, I hate Myers Park. I mean, I'm just going to tell you now, I hate parking at Myers Park. And at Myers Park, there's normally set aside behind the home stands, there's a hill where the fans walk up to go in, let's say through the main entrance gate, not the end zone gate. And usually media parks there. And so I pull into the school and around, and I see there's a couple of cars parked up there, but they have cones put up. And this is not unusual for them to have cones put up to keep people from pulling up in there. And they usually move the cones to let you drive up. Instead, the young lady says, your media, go down there and talk to them, and they'll tell you where to park. So I drove on past. Guy tells me, well, go down there and turn right. And I don't like what I'm hearing because I know what's back there. And sure enough, no place to park. Yeah, absolutely no place to park. There was plenty of places back up there, but didn't show media respect, or at least didn't show me respect. So I ended up having to drive around. I know you're not familiar with the school, but people that are. I ended up having to go back out on Woodlawn Road and come around. And then there's the way the stadium is laid out. You can come up into the school to get to the stadium, or there's a road that rides right by the stadium. And a lot of people park along that road. Well, it's completely full. Everybody's parked there. And I had to go down to the elementary school and park. Now, understand that when I first pulled in, it was right at 15 till. So 6:45, kickoffs at 7. So I had to do all that stuff and then park with a little bit of a walk. But thankfully, I was on the sideline when the ball was kicked. So I did at least get to see the kickoff, but I was mad. Oh, was I mad? And if Jalen, you guys have known him as Gifted Hoops when he has joined us on Twitter Spaces. He'll be able to tell you how mad I was. I was just livid. I was thinking in my head, Myers Park could get blown out right now. I wouldn't care. But obviously that's not the team's fault. That's now this guy that just joined us, Chachi wanted me to say something to him. But the only thing Chachi said was, tell that man in dreads. And I knew he was talking about you, Sam. But I didn't ask him what to say. I got onto something else. Tonight, we thought your team was down. Observer Preps posted upset alert.
Oh, really?
7-0. Yeah. So
it says we were down.
Yeah, I'm on the sidelines, and the guy that's going to join us hopefully here in a little bit, he says, man, Chambers is beating West Charlotte. I said, get out of here. He's like, yeah, they're beating West Charlotte. And it's the third quarter has just started.
Oh, wow.
And it was either 6-0 or 7-0 is what Observer Preps had posted.
I got you. Yeah, I don't know how we end up giving him a goose egg then if that was the case. No, I mean they're they're a competitive team. They're still they're still gonna be tough at home. They run the wing tee. They're doing a really good job with it. And their quarterback went down. They struggled a little bit more after he went down. But they had some good. Their first drive, they got a couple of first downs, which is hard to do in our defense. To get a few first downs, and then it looked good. It looked fluid. Wing tee, misdirection. It looked good. It was cool to watch for a little bit. And then
was it real wing tee or was it hybrid wing tee?
It was shotgun wing tee. It was misdirection. It was 100% that. Spinner package with it. Like they were able to do some things. They're pulling guards, they doing a counter after the jet fakes and trying to run
They
the
run.
buck sweeps. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, I think it is intelligent. Do it. The quarterback's really good when he keeps the ball too. After they do a double fake, he'll keep it on like a gut type play or a trap type play. I don't know if they're trying to run it as a G lead or a trap. Just I guess it depends on what you're giving them front wise. But
Hmm.
defensively, we're pretty good defensively, and eventually, got our bearings, and we made a lot of drives, got stagnant a little bit, didn't complete two of our fourth downs early on, but ended up winning the game 37-0. Towards the end, and got a score with like 3 minutes to go or something to make it go 37-0. We were up 30-0. But no, I mean, they're a good football team. I think Captain Mullen, I'm actually impressed with Captain Mullen. I told him that too. Like, a lot of times the guy, the prestigious guy that's been very successful in the NFL, and, you don't want to do the grinding type work of what high school takes, for the pay for what it is. I mean, it's pretty brutal.
Hmm.
And I just kudos to him to not like he's really intrigued about the coaching stuff. They do some unique things. You could tell that he's a student of the game and he wants to learn. He's wanting to do more things with certain things. And he doesn't do a traditional style, this, that, or the other that you would run in maybe the NFL. He was being creative and trying to do some things, and their JVs are really good. Our JV only won 6-0, I believe it was, the night before, and their JV's only lost one game, and they've been getting better every game. And so our JV's beating them last night, and they remained undefeated. But I was impressed with his overall program. Captain Motherland does a good job, and sometimes I mean it surprised me of how well that he's putting the time in and dedicating himself. Like you could tell this means a lot to him. And someone that's been successful as him at the highest level, are you going to like come to the high school phase and like really dedicate where it ain't a lot of pay, but you're doing a lot of dedication to your craft. And I'll definitely say this: he's definitely putting a lot of time in his craft and is really enjoying it. I think he's going to be very successful.
Does he coach the defense or the offense?
I told him the only advice I gave him when he first started coaching, I said, um, you need to have your hand in both early in your career. And I think he has his hand in both for sure.
Does he have an OC and a DC?
I'm pretty sure he has both, but I think that he's involved in both. Like
Okay.
I think he knows what's going on at all times, or he's installing certain things. And I don't know if he call plays anything or whatnot, but you know, that's probably the biggest mistake I had when I first got to Harding is I tried to delegate and do certain things, but until you have your identity of what you really want to be, you got to be more involved as a head coach, in my opinion, until you get a staff. Like now, I got a great staff at West Charlotte where I got two offense coordinators and I got a defense coordinator that runs the style of defense that we've been running for a long time and taking ownership of it. And I don't think I might have called or had input on a few things on defense because he understands it like it's his own, does a great job. And then, I got Little John and Coleman that help me in the passing game, and we do a lot of their concepts there. I just kind of control the run game, and Randy Long's heavily involved in that stuff. So we got a good staff where it's been more delegated than what I've had to do in the past.
Yeah, I'm impressed with your staff. Just absolutely. Oh, Coach Baker.
Come
Um,
on in here, Baker. How'd they do tonight? They did good, I assume.
they they did. They
Yeah. That's what I was telling everybody. Everybody's like, do you want Myers Park to win? I said, no, I don't want Myers Park to win. They were like, why not? And I said, shoot, if they win, it means Myers Park and Huff will be in that top four probably in RPI. I said, I want them to win.
well, it took them a little while. Myers Park's defense was really surprised tonight. I was impressed with the way their defense played. It did take Huff a while to get their offense going, but boy, fourth quarter was all theirs. Is Coach Baker on right now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's going on, boss?
Nothing much,
Man,
man. What's up with you?
Thank
Say
you
it
for
again.
not. Thank you for not messing up the RPI. Way to keep winning. Good job.
Hey, man, anything for you, Sam.
No problem. I love
Sam,
it.
before you say anything more to him, I've got to ask him, Coach Baker, is your hand okay? When you came by after that touchdown, you gave my backside a hard slap, and I had my battery in that pocket that you hit, so I'm hoping you didn't hit that.
Oh no, man, I'm good, man. You know, I'm in the moment all the time. I'm animated with the kids, man. I'm excited for the kids anytime they do something great.
Good deal. So what they win?
Well,
They win 20 something to 7 or 6, or how'd they do? I didn't see no scores yet.
28-6.
Okay, good. They opened it up on them, huh? Good.
It took. Go ahead, Coach. Tell us about the game and the slow offensive start.
Yeah, we went up 7-3 or whatever, and defense playing. They were playing lights out, and you know the penalties kind of killed us too, man. Like, I mean, we got an interception on an interception. We got a 60-yard penalty. Like, how does that happen? And we go, we driving the ball, and we getting 4 or 5 holding penalties every time. Like, we can't be holding that much. But the other team getting 2 penalties. But it is what it is, man. We had to settle down and got the run game going. And Jamarion Morrison, man, he did a hell of a job running the ball. And the offensive line, man, they listen, they dominated in that third, fourth quarter. Like they got after them boys.
So, Coach, I got to ask you a question about that play with all the penalties. I saw one unsportsmanlike. It was a little taunting with a block there on the sideline right before the touchdown.
Right.
But I was told there were 3 unsportsman conduct calls.
Yep.
But was there also a holding call?
It was a blocking the bag, unsportsmanlike conduct, personal foul, and then I'm asking the official, like, what's all the penalties? And Coach Chachi comes up to me and said, Bake, don't worry about it, man. Listen, we finna win this game. Like, don't worry about it. They threw a flag on them for saying that.
Yeah, they did. Exactly. I saw that.
He was talking to me, and they threw a flag on him.
Well.
So
you getting them West Charlotte penalties. At least you know how to feel. So I like it.
Hey man, it's crazy, man. But you know what? Like I told our kids, man, we've been in some games all year. We done had that face adversity all year. So it was a matter of time. They hadn't been in that situation all year either, where they've been down and had to come back. So that was our motto, to try to go in there and start fast and get on them early. And we ended up having a slow start. So, but once we got clicking, it was we were rolling.
Well, that interception, and I've got I don't know where the highlight is, but we reviewed it on the sideline just to see what penalties we could see. That was one of the best runs I've seen of him not going out of bounds, keeping himself in bounds. What a wonderful return.
Yeah, I had 3 people come to me after the game and said something about their return.
It was really nice.
It was Jason Wilkerson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I will get the highlight up. I'll get it to Langston so we can. We won't have it up tonight, but it was a fantastic return. Now, before you say anything more, don't forget to get me defensive and offensive linemen from tonight, please.
I got you. I'll do that. I'll do that.
And then just let me know when they want to come on. If you want to come on and record on Wednesday, or if they want, Sunday, or if they want to come on live with us Wednesday night.
I don't know if they're good enough to come on here and talk to you, Mr. Ross.
Here we go.
What are you talking about?
We got a lot of work to do.
You got a lot of good kids. That's just I know better. I saw what happened on that field.
I'll definitely get that to you. First thing tomorrow or something.
A good
So
win,
you must,
Baker.
Same to you, boss.
All right, brother. Hey, tell Captain Mullen he owes me steak 48.
Well, I heard his quarterback got hurt.
Yeah, that kid was good too. He got hurt in the first series. Yeah,
The
they run a
kids,
little wing.
the kids were
Yeah,
telling me
yeah,
he got hurt.
yeah. I mean, they struggled a little bit offensively after he goes down, obviously, because he's pretty like athletic. Running the wing T stuff, they couldn't do it as much anymore after he was gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got banged up. I don't know what happened to him. But nah, the deal was, Cat Muddle and I in the summer, I told him, I said, we're gonna run and clock you, and it's gonna be okay because you're getting that rookie treatment, like we've been telling him. And he says, Coach, you can't we betted just the game, and I said, we run and clock. I'm going to stake 48. He says, all right, that's a bet. So he's got to take me to stake 48 now. So
Lord have mercy. Y'all crazy.
yeah. I'm going sizzling. I'm going sizzling. White man can't jump, baby.
How about you crazy?
All right.
But shoot, I'm gonna get off, man. I gotta. My daughter waiting on me to get home.
Yeah. I'll see
Thank
you
you,
on the
Coach
flip
Baker.
side.
Thank you, Coach Baker, for coming in. Let's look at some of the scores in the Charlotte area, and then maybe we can also look at some Raleigh scores. All right, Independence shuts out North Mac 41-0. Mallard Creek beats Butler 44-22. West Charlotte again beats Chambers 37-0. Mallard Creek Butler. I thought that game might be a little bit closer than that. How about you, Dale?
well, I was going to ask Sam, what do you think about that game?
I'd have to see.
Mallard Creek?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I would have to see the game, how it played out. But I thought if Butler played as well as they did versus us, then they could give them a hard time. But remember, Mallard Creek just got embarrassed too the week before, and so they're going to play with.
All right, looks like Sam might have cut out. Dale, can you still hear me?
I can agree on the embarrassed part. I don't know if I just don't know about Mallard Creek. They offensively 1 week can't put up points, and then this week they put up a ton of points. So it'd be interesting to know what the difference is besides teams, what the differences were offensively for Mallard Creek.
Let's keep on going down here. The Greater Charlotte 7A, 8A. Hopewell beats West Mecklenburg 17-13. Huff beats Myers Park 28-6. And South Meck beats Garinger 63-6. We've already talked about Huff and Myers Park. Hopewell, West Meck, I thought it was going to be a pretty close game. And, of course, I thought South Meck would blow out Garinger. Southwestern 7A, 8A. Ardrey Hill 28.
Well, yeah. I didn't think the Hopewell West Mecklenburg game would be that close. I thought Hopewell might win by a couple of scores. South Meck faces Myers Park next week, and Myers Park thinks that South Meck is a pushover. Now, this has nothing to do with the score, but I did talk with a number of Huff coaches tonight, and they all felt like South Mecklenburg has a good team, obviously not on the level with a Huff, but they don't believe that South Meck will be a pushover for Myers Park. So that'll be an interesting game to keep your eye on next week.
I was going to ask you, next week in the Southwestern 7A, 8A, does Ardrey Hill and Providence play?
Yeah, that's a big game for the championship. So if Providence wins,
they win out.
They went out, but if Ardrey Hill wins, then it becomes a 3-way tie, I believe.
With Palisades,
it becomes a 3-way tie as long as Palisades wins next week. That's right. And they should. So it's a pretty important actually a very important game. So it's on my list to think about actually attending.
Over in the greater metro, A.L. Brown beats Coxville 47-21. Hickory Ridge beats Harding 28-14. Olympic over Berry 28-0. And I think I heard that this West Cabarrus Central Cabarrus game went in overtime. West Cabarrus wins 42-38. I thought that was going to be a pretty decent game. I picked West Cabarrus to win by like maybe one score, but still, I mean, I think Donnie Kiefer next year, Central Cabarrus will be the real deal. Donnie always seems to turn programs around.
Well, we had West Cabarrus in our picks this week, and I picked West Cabarrus. I thought it would be quite honestly, I thought it'd be a one-score game. 42-38 is. I don't know if I thought it would be that high a scoring game, but I did think it would be this kind of game.
That North Piedmont, Lake Norman beats Davie County 23-10. Davie's a good team. That's a solid 7A team. Mooresville has a pretty easy way with Statesville 45-13. South Iredell beats North Iredell 49-21. Mooresville, that's a team in the 7A that you have to look out for. They're probably in the top 5 in the state in 7A.
I agree.
You said Mooresville?
Mooresville.
Yeah, 100%. I've been raving about them since the beginning, saying that once they get their feet grounded, defensively with, Stevie Williams just got over that. I think the world of him defensively. He's a great coach, and they're only going to get better. They're going to be a tough out for anybody in 7A, and don't be surprised if they are in the semifinals or further in 7A.
Oh, I agree, Sam. After watching them play Huff so well, I knew right then that this was going to be a team to contend, and sure enough.
Yeah, they're mad at Gary for saying the triangle of the 7A. They wanted me to say to them, the Gary, that it's not a triangle, it's a square. You better put Mooresville in that discussion too. I said, okay, I'll tell them.
Well, I see Charlotte Catholic wins. They beat Cuthbertson 28-14. Catholic, I think it was the last week they lost to Marvin Ridge by like 7-3 or something like that. So it's good to see Catholic back in. Sun Valley beats Marvin Ridge 30-7. Weddington 49, Piedmont 0. Weddington is another one of those 7A teams you got to watch out for. I think it's really Grimsley and Weddington are like on a plane by themselves in 7A.
I would disagree.
Yeah.
I would say Mooresville and Independence would definitely be in that mix when it comes to it because of the competition that they're playing. That's what I said. I think it's a square on the West. I think that Independence, remember Grimsley does not have their quarterback and haven't had to play a game like ourselves really outside. I guess West Forsyth gave them some problems and they still pulled away, but Grimsley's a phenomenal compared to, Faison. And so they're not unbeatable, I don't think. I think they're still, obviously a great football team and the one to beat. But Weddington's going to keep getting better, like you said. But don't be surprised if you see Independence or Mooresville in that mix in the semifinals. Do not be surprised at all.
I'm not surprised. I will not be surprised.
No. All right.
Sun Valley is setting themselves up for a big game next week with Porter Ridge. Another game that's on my radar, but
the Country Day beats Latin 24-21. I think we got some.
That's huge. That's a huge win because no one in the Observer picked Country Day. I think everybody picked Latin on the pick'ems.
Exactly. Yeah, that's without question that surprises me. I don't know. I thought Latin would win this game. I don't want to say easily, but I thought
2 scores
comfortably. Yeah, 2 scores is.
Well, you got to understand, maybe the best player, one of the best players, if not the best player in the private school in the region, plays for Country Day. That wide receiver is elite. And I guarantee he was involved in tonight's game and scoring. I can almost guarantee that. I didn't see the game, but I would not be surprised if he was the one heavily involved in the scoring aspects.
So Providence Day, they keep on rolling. They beat Charlotte Christian 46-20. Was that about what you thought it was going to be, Dale, score-wise?
First, let me address Sam.
Okay.
He caught the a 77-yard touchdown for the win tonight.
Oh, wow. See? Okay.
Yeah.
And what did I say about Providence Day? I said I'd be surprised if it's within 21 points. Did I not say that?
I don't remember, but I know you said you didn't feel like it'd be a game. So
Sam, you say a lot, so don't hold it against us. We don't remember everything you say.
So it not being within 21 is not a surprise for you.
Yeah.
And we all knew Providence Day's a better team.
Yeah.
Now, the Big South, that Ashbrook Crest game, this one I thought would be one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised we went through 5 or 6 overtimes. These two teams were really well matched. Ashbrook beats Crest 21-14 tonight.
That's a huge win.
You know what? You know how close I was to picking Ashbrook. You don't know. I actually had it and almost sent it, and then I changed it.
I picked Ashbrook to win this one, but barely. I think it's the best 6A team, or one of the best 6A teams versus the best 5A team, or one of the best 5A teams. So,
totally agree.
Kings Mountain, they beat Hunter Huss 31-14. You know, Kings Mountain had a pretty bad loss last week, but they bounced back. Last week, I think they lost to South Point by a running score. So Kings Mountain wins again. And, you know, South Point, that's one of those 5A teams right there. They could win the state. They're a really good team. They beat Forest View 56-14.
Yeah, South Point's a very good team.
The Big Five, these independent schools. Didn't copy, Sam.
I said, look at Monroe getting after it. Everybody was doubting Monroe, and I'm like, okay, just because they played us in Weddington, don't fall asleep that they can't make a move now because they've been battle tested. There's something about teams that play big competition. You look at Corvian playing Butler, playing, Monroe playing us and playing Weddington. Now look at them playing against Mount Pleasant, who's a really good football team, but everybody's like writing Monroe off. But now all of a sudden, Monroe ain't lost a game in a long time after the first 4 games.
I agree with
Monroe
him.
Off.
I think Forest Hills might be a little easier to write off because they did lose some talents that transferred out of the program. They've been struggling a little bit since about the 5th or 6th week. They did beat Anson County 14-12. And Parkwood, they hold up and defeat the West Stanley Colts 45-42. South Piedmont for a 5A Concord all over Salisbury. You know, this is not the Salisbury of the last several years. This team is really struggling. Concord, they had a very impressive win. East Rowan beat South Rowan 33-14. J.M. Robinson, this is a team that I keep on telling people in 5A, they're a sleeper. They beat Jesse Carson 45-19. And West Rowan, I consider this to be an upset. They beat Northwest Cabarrus 23-21. I thought Northwest Cabarrus was better than West Rowan. I was thinking maybe a 10 to 13 point win by Northwest, but West Rowan wins that game. Dale, Sam, did you have any thoughts about that game?
No, but I was just going to say I don't think J.M. Robinson's a sleeper. I think they're a contender.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're like with the Hickories and the South Points and the Crest and so forth. Really,
someone mentioned on I think it was Jalen, Gifted Hoops. When he heard about the Concord Salisbury score, it wasn't a final, but it was 30. I think it was 35-7 or something at the time. And I told him this isn't Salisbury, that we knew from 5 years ago. This is a totally different team.
I totally agree with you. That Western Foothills Conference, this is an underrated conference, Dale. There's a lot of good teams in here, and Bandy's and West Iredale. People think about West Iredale not winning a game last year, and this year it seems like every game they're very competitive in. Bandy's wins that game 36-32. Both of those are solid teams. East Lincoln, they're one of the best 5A teams in the state. They beat Maiden 35-21, which is Maiden's one of the best 4A teams in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Newton Conover, very solid 4A team. They beat Fred T. Ford 35-14. And North Lincoln, they hold on and beat Bunker Hill 19-12. Again, that's a good conference. That has 5 really good teams in it.
Agreed. East Lincoln, that's a good bounce back.
Yeah, it is.
After a disappointing loss to Hickory last week.
I agree. That 5A is going to be interesting. I have Crest as number 1, and I might keep Crest at number 1. I don't know. I mean, losing to what may be the best 6A team in the state is no shame, and losing them by only 7 points and holding a team like Ashbrook to 21 points is pretty impressive. So it'll be interesting. Right now to me, 5A could be like a five-way tie for first.
Gotcha.
So I'll tell you what, let's see what we got, what other scores we might have, maybe in the Raleigh area. Here we go. I've seen both Friendship and Willow Spring play this year. This score does not surprise me at all. Friendship is a very, very solid team. I don't know if they're a top 10 in 8A, but they're probably definitely in the top 15. They beat Willow Springs 28-7. Now, Jordan's a top 10 team easily, maybe even a top 5. They beat Green Level 62-0. If I was Sam or Coach Baker or anybody in the 8A that's in the West, Jordan might be one of those teams that you'll play for the championship game. They're that good. Panther Creek and Apex, haven't seen a score on that one. Broughton beats Athens Drive 41-6. Enloe beats Corinth Holders 28-22. That's about what I thought that score was going to be. I thought it was going to be either team would win by 1 touchdown or so. Millbrook all over Wakefield 55-0. And for the battle for second, Rollsville beats Leesville Road 20-10. I thought that was one of those games that could really go either way, but Rollsville wins by 10. So
I don't see any real surprises. I mean, these are probably each team I would have picked.
In the Greater News 7A, I see the last score of that Fuquay South Gardner. South Gardner wins that game 28-23. We don't have the score listed in front of us, but again, South Gardner wins 28-23. Clayton beats Gardner 34-22. We had Scott Chadwick on the call this last Wednesday, and he coaches Clayton. And that ends up, I think Gardner beats Southeast Raleigh. Southeast Raleigh beats Clayton. Clayton beats Gardner. So that's a 3-way tie for second place. The first place winner is going to be probably Cleveland, unless Clayton beats Cleveland next Friday, then Clayton and Cleveland would be tied for first in conference. And being that I guess Clayton would win on head-to-head, Clayton would win the conference championship. That's a very good – that Greater News 7A, some really good teams there. And the team that didn't play tonight was Southeast Raleigh. And, again, Southeast Raleigh might have the second most talent in that conference. Oh, the Tobacco Road 6A, 7A. Chapel Hill beats Riverside 35-2. No surprise on that. Don't see a score for Hillside and Northern Durham yet, but I know Northern Durham is struggling mightily. Northern Durham, you remember, Dale, 30 years ago, that was a team that nobody would want to play for state championship. And I did see it by the third quarter. Hillside was up 42-0 over Northern Durham. So,
Mm.
And then Southern Durham all over East Chapel Hill, 60-0. Nothing to surprise on that. Southern Durham's a very good team. I know they beat Hillside last week, so that pretty much Southern Durham's pretty much wrapped up the conference championship. In the Triangle, 6A, 7A, Middle Creek all over Cary and Colonel Gibbons over Sanderson. That's a huge win there, 71-13. I was debating whether that was going to be a running score or not. I thought it was going to be maybe a 30-34 point win. Colonel Gibbons says, we're going to run the score on that.
Yeah, much.
The Northern 6A, 7A Heritage beats Knightdale 32-23. That's a mild surprise on that. I thought Knightdale would win that game. Vance County beats East Wake 48-19. And Wake Forest over Franklinton 23-7. Wake Forest, they struggled at the beginning of the season, but they've really righted the ship. They've won like 3 or 4 games in a row now. So
it's the time of year to start winning.
Oh yeah, Reggie Lick is such a great guy. I still my heart breaks for him after him losing his wife by a freak gunshot. That was just awful. All right, let's see if there's any more scores we got tonight. Let's see. Here we go. Harnett Central, Southern Lee. These are 2 struggling programs. I thought that game would be a little bit closer, but Harnett Central beat Southern Lee 50-13. Earlier on the season, I saw Lee County. Lee County I consider them an average 6A team. They're not the Lee County of old, but Union Pines is a really good 6A team. They're actually in my top 10 in 6A. Brian Till is a great coach. Then he beats Lee County 42-3. Western Harnett and West Johnson, I haven't seen a score yet. We'll see if I maybe in a little bit see if I can come up with anything on that. In that game, I would think West Johnson would be favored. We'll see if we got anything here. Actually, I do have West Johnson was up 35-0 in the third quarter. No final on that. So Cedar Ridge, Carborough too. Well, my buddy Reuben Davis, you remember Reuben, I'm sure, Dale. He'd say,
"Oh yeah,
these are 2 mangy dogs trying to battle for a bone," and that's kind of how you'd look at Cedar Ridge and Carborough. And I'm not trying to pick on Cedar Ridge because I do live in the Cedar Ridge district, but it's a very struggling team. Carborough should win that game. Webb beating Seaforth 44-39. I thought that was going to be a pretty decent game. And that might actually decide who wins this conference, to be honest with you. I think Webb beat South Granville earlier on the season, or maybe they're playing this next week. Orange beat South Granville 16-8. In the Three Rivers, I see we don't have a score for Eastern Wayne and Washington. I'd say Eastern Wayne would win that game. North Johnson over North Lenoir, 48-25. West Craven all over Southwest Edgecombe, 44-19. Dale, I don't know if you've ever been to Vanceboro or not, but they have some pretty good football over there.
I haven't been there to watch a football game, but I have been there. Yes.
Yeah, some good seafood over there, by the way. Some good, if you like broiled seafood, and that's one of my favorite types of seafood, to be honest with you. Battle over in Franklin County. Bunn beats Lewisburg 34-19. I think that's the first loss for Lewisburg this year. I think they're now finally got their first loss. Roanoke Rapids, they beat the American Leadership in Johnston County 32-14. Wake Prep over Nash Central 29-21. Dale, Nash Central, not that long ago, they had a very good team, really good team, and they're struggling this year really bad. It's all about those numbers. Swine Valley 2A, 3A. That's, Dale, if you've ever been down over in that general area, that's a perfect name to call that area.
Yes, I have. I've been in that area many times.
You can't call it wine country 2A, 3A, although that'd be a pretty decent one too. Some of the Duplin County ones, but
Yep.
Goldsboro, Spring Creek, those are two very much struggling teams there. I think Goldsboro would be slightly favored to win that one. James Keenan all over Princeton, 49-14. Walsh Rose Hill having no problem putting away Rosewood 58-0. Heroes Christians, they beat Ravenscroft 48-21. So maybe we can get some statewide scores up here eventually. Maybe we got some more Raleigh scores, but okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Producer.
Let's see what's of any.
Brevard. Dale, that Brevard team is probably your best 4A team in the state. They beat Tuscola 36-3. I know some people would say Reidsville, but I'm going to take Tuscola over Reidsville right now.
Let's see. I'm looking.
I said we got the Eastern Wayne score there. They beat Washington 49-6.
Yeah, I don't see.
Oh, how about the Grimsley-Dudley game? Grimsley beats Dudley 42-14.
Yeah, they took them to the woodshed.
Rose beats Newbern 48-35. That's a good game.
That's a big rival game there.
Yeah, it is.
As did Watauga not play tonight?
They may not have. They might have had the night off.
Yeah, I don't see a score up there for them. Of course, I'm looking for them on the winning side.
Yeah, I don't see them on the losing side either. Northeast Guilford, they beat Asheboro 38-35. That Asheboro team, that's a very much of an improved team. You know, for Asheboro used to be pretty much a 500 type of team. And then over the last 7 or 8 years, they really struggled really bad. And it's good to see them on their winning right ways. I think they're 6-3 this year. So Asheboro's a team that could be a dangerous team in the 6A playoffs.
Thomasville beat East Davidson.
Oh, I did see a score. I don't see it here. Cape Fear beats Terry Sanford tonight. I think it was something like 50-39. That was somewhat surprised me.
That's a surprise to me.
And let's see here.
I don't
South
see
Central
any.
River.
West Henderson 42-35 over North Henderson. Look at that West Craven. That's certainly not the final.
Yes, it was 44-19 with Southwest Edgecombe listed there as 44, but I think Southwest Edgecombe scored 19 points.
Say, wow, that's so 44-19 was the final. Okay.
Yeah. And let's see here.
So,
you know, looking at those scores, though, nothing really surprised me on any of these. But I'll tell you what, though, I'll go back to that Brevard game. That 4A championship, if Richmond goes, or not Richmond, but Reidsville goes to the east, I could see Brevard and Reidsville playing for the 4A championships.
you know, I wish they would have kept the East and the West predefined.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that, splitting after you qualify. I didn't like it back when they did it before. And, we saw so many times that, like Richmond, would end up coming west. And, they really should have naturally been in the East as an example of why I don't like it.
Yeah. Back in the day when you used to have to subdivide, you get your, like, let's say back in the old days when we had 4A, you get 64 teams, then you'd subdivide. And then after that, you'd divide between East and West. And sometimes you had a team like Greensboro Page that might go 4A, big 4A, or little 4A. And depending on their big 4A or little 4A, they might go east or west. And sometimes they're right there in the middle of both of them. So,
that was hard to keep. That was a big challenge. That was back when I was. I would put together projection brackets starting about with 3 games left. Is usually when I would start doing my brackets, and it was so hard back then to, because you had to keep track of both longitude, latitude, or you had to keep track of size, ADM. Of course, qualifying everybody and the different methods that they used for qualifying. There's arguments. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Wouldn't it be fun if we had selection Saturday where me, you, and the team on the Talking Prep could pick the brackets? It wouldn't have to be, it could be what we want to do as opposed to something that's arbitrary like a RPI.
No, I'm against subjective picking.
I mean, just for one time, Dale, just for 1 year. That's all I ask for, just 1 year. Just get it out of our system. All right, here we go. Some Charlotte area scores here. Corvian beats Christ the King 26-0. That Christ the King team, that's a very good team. Of course, Corvian's one of the best in the state. Corvian, that Corvian Tarboro, that looks like a very strong possibility right now, though. Community School might have something to say about that. They beat Linktree Charter 58-7 and Pine Lake Prep all over Lincoln Charter 44-21.
I think Corvian will have a little tougher route to the state championships than Tarboro will, but I still think Corvian's your favorite out of the West.
Burns beats Highland Tech 48-0. Shelby beats Bessemer City 68-0. Stuart Kramer all over Cherryville 42-7. And then we finally have a competitive game. West Lincoln beats East Gaston 27-21. Dale, that Southern Piedmont 2A, 3A, 4A, that might be one of the ugliest conferences. I mean, there's a big difference between the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think probably the only team that's in the middle of any of them would be like West Lincoln.
Yeah, it's a real top-heavy team, top-heavy conference, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Shelby, and to me, Shelby's your best, and Burns and Kramer right there. Of course, Stuart Kramer might be the best team in that. They beat Lincolnton, who beat Shelby. Of course, you can't really – that football is not linear. It's multi-linear.
Gary Ashley made a comment. Let's see here. Bandy's 36, West Iredell 32. Bandy's was down by 11 with 2 minutes to go. They came back and won.
Wow.
You got to finish games. That's, that's only 11 points. So it's kind of like tonight in my game. When Myers Park was driving for their second score, they only had 3 points on the board. And, we said to each other, Myers Park has got to score a touchdown. They can't put another 3 points up. And unfortunately for Myers Park, they did. And then Myers Park got that nice interception, which kind of still, they were still in the game about maybe midway through the fourth quarter. There was still a possibility that they could come back. It was a stretch, but there was a possibility. But Huff showed that they know how to finish, and even against that, just still, when I looked at that, and I'm gonna have to look at the film more, and I'll have to get there was I don't know, I don't hear any sound. They really enjoyed their win. It was And
For
there's some
Myers Park.
sound. I forgot we talk a lot. But Jim, it was it's one of those things that they knew how to finish. There's a finish right there. Now he almost that could have got you a taunt as well. Turning around and pointing at the guy. And I know you've probably heard us talk about Chachi. That's him right there in the beard on the right.
Okay.
He runs the defense at Huff.
I just got a message about that Ashbrook Crest game. Supposedly Crest was leading 14-0, and then Ashbrook came back to win 21-14.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I was so close to picking Ashbrook, and I don't know why. I mean, I had my picks. I had Ashbrook as my pick, and I started to click send to send it to Langston, and I said, yeah, something's going to happen, and so I changed it to Crest. So something happened. All right.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
The Big Five: the Asheville School, South Lake Christian, High Point Christian, Hickory and Grove Christian. You got anything you can add to that? Because I could add nothing whatsoever.
No. Out of all this, the Providence Day Charlotte Christian game was probably a great environment. That's a huge rival game, Jim. That game rivals any rival game you've ever been to.
Right.
It's a really good environment. Country Day winning 24-21. I'm surprised. I really am. I would have thought it would have been something like 28-14 Latin.
You see, that score surprised me. The West Rowan Northwest Cabarrus game, that surprised me. Those are like the two surprises I had this week.
That's a little bit of a surprise too. I'm looking to see if there's any other surprises on here. I really felt like Kings Mountain would win. I think South Point's that loss to South Point last week. South Point's a really good team. They're going to prove that in the playoffs. They're going to be a late round contender, I think, in the playoffs. I'm talking about South Point. I can't say Kings Mountain will be, but that's not a surprise that Kings Mountain beat Hunter Huss.
Yeah.
Asheville School. There's no surprises on those two scores there in the Big Five.
No, in your area, are you going to have games on Thursday and Friday next week, or all of them going to be okay? That's how we're doing here. It's seems like half the games are on Thursday and half of them are on Friday.
It's just CMS here. As far as I know, I don't know of any of the other surrounding schools that are not going to be playing Friday night.
All right. And gosh, producers put it up here already for us.
Yeah. What I want to know is why was the game that I attended tonight? There hasn't been a more high profile game. So I've got to understand what extraordinary circumstances are, because we certainly had a high profile game. Just speaking about CMS and playing next Thursday night, I don't know if that is one of the factors of thinking extraordinary circumstances is Halloween, so they move it off of Halloween. I don't know the justification for why they selected to move the games. We just really have no clear understanding of how things are done, in my opinion.
That word transparency, does that ever come to mind?
Yeah, there's zero transparency right now.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening, even though someone in our chat doesn't seem to think it's something to do, I did send in a public records information request for CMS to explain or to provide all documentation, be it printed policy, any emails, any texts, any video, any audio. I did respond to the individual that responded back to me when I sent my request in and said I forgot to add audio and video. Every minutes of meetings, I've requested all of that concerning this high profile with extraordinary circumstances, so that we can, they don't want to be transparent. Well, we'll request the records and find out what's going on. So CMS, if you're listening, yeah, my plan is that I will get those records since you won't explain it. And if I can't get those records, I will go to the school board and to the city council. If that doesn't get me anywhere, I will go to the state legislature, and I'll take it all the way up to Mo Green. I'm going to be a dog with a bone on this. I don't like the way it looks, Jim. And
it's perception. It's like when you're not transparent, there's a perception that you have something either to hide or a perception that you have a certain mindset. And a lot of times you want to stay away from those perceptions and having that like a incorrect mindset. And that's why you want to be transparent about things and don't have to have a guy like you, Dale, having to try to dig to find it out,
Well, the perception is that it's racial, that it's racism. Yeah. If you talk to anybody, and I talked to several people tonight at the game, and everybody has that perception. And DJ McFadden posted on Twitter earlier in the week, was this game not a high-profile game, talking about Myers Park and Huff? And I responded to him hoping somebody would respond to me, and my response was, define high profile, because I was hoping somebody would respond to that. And if I got a comment like I was expecting I might get, being one that says, well, it's racism, my response, I already had my response planned out because I was expecting that kind of response, and I had my response planned out already. And my response was going to be, I can't say that that's the situation, but I also cannot say that it's not the situation, because we don't know.
You can't prove or deny it.
That's right.
Or discredit it. I mean, that's the thing. You just don't know.
Now, what's my perception? That it's, is it racial inclined or is it socioeconomic, which in the end turns out being racial? If you look at the schools that have been targeted and the schools that have not been targeted, well, there's a perception that's kind of held up by action.
Right.
Scared of Myers Park. Yeah, exactly. So I made a comment, and I'll stand by it. I made a comment Sunday that Myers Park would fire CMS. They would fire them if they limited the game tonight. They would fire them. And that is sad that they have that much pull in this city. That one school has that much pull, that community. You must love your power. I wish we had that kind of power.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't wish anybody to have that power. I know I do not want to have that power because I don't think I'm any better or my people are any better than anybody else's. I think we're all should be equals, and
Exactly.
And that's the thing is when you give one school power over the others, it's a sign of disrespect, and it's really not really showing. It's not really showing Myers Park or whatever in a very good light. And by the way, if you attend Myers Park, we're not slamming you whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with that school. We're just talking about the perception of power. It has nothing to do about any student that goes there, or if you teach there, we respect you. We have no problem with you on that. The power part is what we have problems with. When you're talking about just the word disrespect, when you have a school like Indy and a school like Butler or a school like West Charlotte that's being penalized, and there's no real true transparency going on, what are you supposed to believe in? I mean, we've heard the word racism, and I can't prove it. The only thing I can prove is a sign of disrespect. There's no way that you can tell me it's a sign of respect by limiting the ticket sales to 1,000 or 1,400 or whatever.
Yeah, the thing about that Indy West Charlotte is that cost West Charlotte tens of thousands of dollars. It wasn't a small number. It's a big number that will fund buying uniforms for baseball and what, all the other sports. Every other sport depends upon that revenue that comes in. So it's a big impact. It's not just a little small one game impact. This has major impact throughout. So I'm just kind of disappointed with what I'm seeing happen.
Right.
But maybe there won't be any more games limited. We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll share with you, Dale, and I don't have any idea, there might be some information that we're not aware of that's not being shown to us. And that's where it goes back to that transparency that might add some little bit more understanding about why they limited ticket sales. And the thing is, we don't know. I'm just throwing that out because we don't know what information that might turn our opinion about it. Just be transparent.
No, that's right. With us. We're left to develop our own perception of what we think we see. That's what we're left with.
And lack of transparency, this is where you get all these conspiracy theories coming through them. I mean, seriously. And sometimes there's no conspiracy theories whatsoever. It's just somebody that was too arrogant to share their thought process. And sometimes it may not be CMS. It might be one or two or three people at CMS making all these decisions. We just don't know.
See, that's why you got to have policies on handling this kind of stuff. Policies concerning what you do. So there's policies that you develop, but there's also policies of how you share the information, how you are transparent. If you don't have policies that govern that, if you make a decision, that you will relay that decision and explain why that decision is made. If you just leave it to, well, okay, we're going to do this decision, and if we tell people that's up to you, that's not how it should be done, and this is what we're left with.
Right. And, I'll give you a person who I actually respect quite a bit for their transparency is Q Tucker. I don't know if anybody knows this, Dale. You probably know about this. Nod, nod, wink, wink. But, 7-8 years ago, you get somebody that's trying to push Q to make a wrong or to make an exception to a rule. And Q says, here is our policy. This is what happens when you do something bad. And, if there's fighting or there's illegal participation, this is the ramifications. These are the consequences for it. And, having a policy that's shared with everybody is transparency. And then you get some blowhard that's trying to say, well, no, we don't want you to be transparent in this situation. We want you to make an exception. And if you make an exception, that's where transparency goes out the window. So,
we don't want you to follow your guidelines this time, but we want you to follow them every other time.
Yeah, exactly. We're the exception is what they're trying to say. And again, it's a person that probably doesn't really quite understand how transparency works or how you work within a certain structure. So
no, it's
anyway.
a person that, because of their political position, feels like they have power, and they're exercising that power. And then when that power was, no, your power doesn't mean anything, policy means everything, then that person's like, I'll show you. And
after I saw after that happened, I saw Q and I said, got a great idea. Let's just go ahead and canonize that person. And she's like, canonize? Why would you do that? And I said, well, that way the only thing we have to do is kiss the ring.
yeah.
So and that's exactly what they're trying to do, trying to circumvent that.
Exactly.
So
did you see the green wave, Jonathan Christopher? So you Ashbrook people, I'm happy for you.
And Dale, let's talk a little bit about Ashbrook. That's a team that's always had talent. And it's good to finally see them reach that level where they're winning big game after big game. And
this is this kind of the Ashbrooks had a history of good teams.
Right. Oh, they used to, like in the 60s and 70s, had some really good teams.
Yeah, 70s. When I was at West Mecklenburg, we scrimmaged Ashbrook, and we had just gotten our helmets painted the day of the scrimmage. We were given our helmets. They had just been, they were freshly painted, right? And probably my third play, I played fullback, and it was either my second or third play. I got a green streak down my helmet right here that lived with me the entire season. That guy hit me so hard on the helmet, and he left his green wave on me.
Yeah, he knocked you all the way back to Saturday.
Exactly, and they were good. That was that time frame. That was the middle 70s, 78. That was in 77. Ashbrook was a good team. They were a good program.
Dale, I'll tell you what, talking about fullback, this is back in 1993, was Georgia Tech versus Arizona. And Georgia Tech's fullback runs right down the middle and just hits. I mean, it's like it runs right into a wall and just goes boom. That was like the worst hit I've ever seen. The guy got up afterwards, but I was like, I was wondering if he saw some Tweety birds going around his head. I love seeing hits like that. As long as it doesn't happen to me, I love them.
Oh man, I've seen those guys. I've been part of some hits like that. And I was telling, I don't know why Jalen didn't ever join us tonight, but I thought we saw a kid on the field, the quarterback. I thought they were doing smelling salts with him, and I got hit one time so hard I had to have smell. They used smelling salts on me to get me somewhat oriented.
Right.
So I was asking him when I saw that, and I thought I saw them putting something under his nose, and I assume they still do that. So I asked him, I said, you ever had anyone use smelling salts on you? That's the thing about football is you can get your bell rung.
Oh yeah, you got it right.
In the most strange ways.
Well, Dale, I've been asked to let's look at some of the games for next week across the state. I mean, this is the last week of the regular season, and I'm just going to look at it here. In that Quad City 7 8A, that Jordan Willow Willow Spring might be the only game that I'd go to, and I think even then Jordan's probably going to win by running clock. Tobacco Road 6A 7A Riverside Northern Durham. That's a pretty big rivalry. Both of those schools are kind of on the same part of the county. Webb South Granville. That's a battle for Granville right there. I think Webb will probably win that game. I was kind of looking at the those Thursday games, and at least in the eastern part of the state,
Mm-hmm.
none of them look all that great to me. Let's look at the Cap 8A. Leesville Road at Broughton. That could be a decent game. I think Leesville Road will win probably by 4 scores, though. Millbrook will probably win by running clock over Corinth Holders. Cleveland Clayton. Dale, that might be the game to go to so far.
Yeah, that would be the best game. Yeah, that's the best game I see on the list. That's a Friday night game, too. So.
Yeah. That might be hey, I see we got Gifted Hoops is on the stream with audio only. Gifted Hoops, you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing great, brother. How about you?
I'm good. How you doing, Mr. Dale?
Good, man. Did nothing happen after you left? Tell us your perception of what you saw tonight.
It was a great game to me, especially through the first 3 quarters. Huff turned it on, and especially in the fourth. Have a great defense. Mounts Park defense is great too. They played a great game, but their offense couldn't get nothing going, especially in the red zone to try to score. One thing I told Mr. Dale tonight, I was like, one thing you can't do is you think you're going to beat Huff kicking field goals. And when they kicked 2 field goals when they got in the red zone, and by that time, I think Huff figured it out, and they turned it on in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, how about that massive penalty play? What are your thoughts on that?
That play, it was a lot. It was a lot going on that play. The kid that caught the interception, he had a great run back. He did have did see the taunting penalty. But after that, once I heard that it was like 3 taunting penalties, I was like, oh man, that was crazy. They went back it looked like about 60, 70 yards or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard it. Coach Baker was on, and he explained there was a block in the back, so that's why there was no touchdown.
Okay.
I've got to go look at the video, but I think I know the play. They probably the situation that they threw the block in the back flag. I don't know, from what I remember of seeing right there, I don't think that would be a block in the back. But so there was a block in the back. So that occurred somewhere around the 35, 40-yard line is where so all the penalties got marked off from there. So you and I saw the taunting occur on the block down near the goal line.
Yeah.
There was another unsportsmanlike conduct call. And then apparently Chachi was telling Coach Baker to calm down. They're going to win the game. And the officials threw a penalty on Chachi. So yeah, exactly. So that's what Coach Baker said. So that's where that 45 yards, and then of course the block in the back from the point of where they threw the flag, which I think was again in that 30 to 40 yard line. So Jim, you had a touchdown wiped out, and Myers Park is 1st and 10 way back at their own 20, something like that. 20, 25 yard line.
Something like that.
but they did score.
Yeah, I think they scored like 2-3 plays later. Like
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, like Jalen says here, the Myers Park defense played very well. The Myers Park offense did not help the defense at all. And then I think when the quarterback went out, that kind of changed things as well for Myers Park. That put them in a much different situation.
Yeah, for sure.
You were right when you said, that second field goal, they needed to score a touchdown. You said that before they ever got in position to have to kick. And you almost think they probably should have went for it. But it was still, at that time, I guess, kind of close. 14,
Yeah.
It was 14-3, right?
No,
No, it was 7.
yeah, it was. I think it was still 7-3.
7-3.
Yeah, I think it was still 7-3.
That's right.
Yeah, I just had a feeling all of it watching the game and how it was playing out. I was just like, Myers Park just had to score in that possession just to keep them had the momentum swing their way. Just because Huff defense is a tough. Their defense is lights out. So
Yeah, exactly.
so getting a touchdown right there I think it would have definitely helped swing momentum their way. But them getting that field goal, I think that definitely gave Huff a little boost of like a sense of like they're down there, but they're not scoring. So as long as they're not scoring and we're still not in the rhythm yet, and once they did get in that rhythm, yeah, I think that's when that separation happened.
Tell Jim where you went last week.
Oh, I went to the East Lincoln and Hickory game.
Oh wow, that must have been a great one.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like both quarterbacks. The game was crazy. That atmosphere is crazy. That was my first time going out there. The LED lights, all the orange and the green flickering. Yeah, it was a great game.
Could you see either one of those teams winning the state championship or both? Either one of them?
For sure. I think they could really compete. They can compete 7A. I think. Like that's how talented they are. Like the quarterback, It was the quarterback for East Lincoln made a couple throws. I was like, okay, and then quarterback for Hickory made a couple throws too. They said, I think I heard them say that he was pretty good at baseball. So, but yeah, the game was a phenomenal game for sure. For sure.
Last year, West Charlotte, I believe, beats Hickory in the playoffs, and now when both of them were 3A, but now West Charlotte is 8A and Hickory's 5A. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure Hickory can compete with the 7As pretty easily these days.
Without question. Jim, have you ever been to East Lincoln?
I have. I've been to Denver, North Carolina, but never been to East Lincoln High School.
If you ever get a chance, it's a phenomenal environment for football. Just absolutely phenomenal. You
know something interesting about Denver? I have an office in Charlotte, or at least my firm has an office in Charlotte. And a lot of the people in the office in Charlotte, they actually live in Denver. And
I'm not surprised. That's a bedroom community to Charlotte. Yeah. And
it is also a good reason for them not to go into the office. They can telecommute from Denver, or actually just stay home and not have to go into the office. And Denver's is one of those places where I could see people moving to. It's a good location. Well, I'll tell you what game are you going to go to next week, Dale? Chachi?
No, that's not Chachi.
Oh, sorry.
No, Chachi.
Oh, we got talking or gifted heaps. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Too late for me tonight.
You're good.
Sorry about that, brother.
I invited Chachi. Chachi told me, he
Okay.
said, I got to go ask Baker if he wants me to
Okay.
come on, because
Well,
Chachi will say anything. So
Gifted Hoops, where are you going to go next week?
Um, I don't know. I'm not even for sure. I know that Independence and Butler play next week. I think.
They do on Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah. So depending on if they allow people to go into the game. We don't know. I don't know. But that's definitely a game that's on my radar.
mine too. They
How
better
far do
let
you guys?
people in.
How far do y'all live from Bonnie Cone? I think that's over in Huntersville, or maybe it's in Iredell County. Where's Bonnie Cone located?
I don't think I live that far from Bonnie Cone, to be honest.
I was going to say you should go over there tomorrow. They're playing a really special team in my eyes, North Stanley. They're playing on a Saturday game
Okay.
tomorrow.
What time? You know what time that game is?
I do not know. I was thinking for some reason it was early, but it's probably could Google it and find out. So I can probably do that right now. But
When you look at these games, the big rival game is Mallard Creek and Chambers, which probably has less of a impact of rivalry. But that's as big a rival game as Independence Butler.
I just got news that game is supposed to be at noon tomorrow. North Stanley and Bonnie Cone.
Mm.
I live a little bit
Myers
too far
Park is
away.
playing they're playing South Meck at Memorial Stadium. That's interesting. I didn't there's not really as far as in Charlotte, the big games are the Independence Butler and Audrey Killen Providence. That's your best games in Charlotte, I think. Now, I don't know if the Independence Butler game, where that's going to fall in competitiveness. Audrey Kill Providence might be more competitive.
I think Audrey Kill Providence, that could actually go either way, to be honest with you.
Where's that game at?
It's
Audrey Kill and Providence. It's at Providence.
Yeah, Thursday night. That A.L. Brown West Cabarrus game could be decent. I think A.L. Brown will win, but that could be a decent game.
Yeah, so why are those? So it's not just Charlotte schools that are going to play on Thursday night. It looks like it's going to be some other schools. If we could go back, we just changed to scores. Let's finish looking at the games. I'm just looking to see if there's any other games, Jim. For me, it's going to be those for Thursday night. Now, Friday night.
That Crest Kings Mountain, I think Crest will win pretty easily, though. Sun Valley Porter Ridge, that could be a good game.
Well, that's going to be your most. Look at there. There's Carrie.
Carrie,
our favorite photographer.
Oh gosh, she's awesome.
The Sun Valley Porter Ridge game is so Jalen. If you're still on here, that's a good environment. If you've never been there. Porter Ridge is a fan. That's a big rival game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the two schools in Indian Trail, and the environment is just phenomenal at Porter Ridge. I picked Sun Valley to win that game. Will it be competitive? You think it will be, Jim?
I think it'll be very competitive. I think Sun Valley would be. Right now, I'd pick Sun Valley by maybe a touchdown, but if that much, I think it'll be a very competitive game, though.
I got to think about it.
That Cuthbertson and Marvin Ridge might surprise people too. I don't think either one of those teams are bad.
I I think that can be a competitive game.
One game that I see here, this is a sleeper, and people might laugh at me on this, but that Lake Norman playing Morrisville. Morrisville better not overlook Lake Norman, and Lake Norman has shown over the years they can beat Morrisville on any given year. Sometimes Morrisville have been favored, and Lake Norman won that game, so that could be a decent game.
That's a huge rival game as well.
Yeah.
Very huge. Two schools in Morrisville.
Are y'all taking Mooresville in that matchup?
Yeah,
I'm taking Morrisville. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me too. Charlotte Christian and Charlotte Latin. That's an interesting game there. That game has maybe become more important with that Country Day win tonight. So that could be an interesting game, Jim.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I know you don't follow these privates that much, but that could be a really good game. Ashbrook and Hunter Huss is another rival game, but I don't expect that to be close.
Yeah.
Covenant Western. What else we got on here? I
just don't see anything. That Maiden Newton Conover game, that could be an interesting game. Newton Conover has had a couple upsets this year, and they beat Maiden. I'd consider that to be an upset. But I think that's a game that could be really competitive. And then on Friday over in the Triangle area, Thursday and Friday, I think we talked about it earlier on. Thursday, probably the game that I'd go to would be. Actually, I'm not going to any of these games. I'm going to go see West Carteret play Northwoods over in Pittsburgh. On Friday, I have to decide. I might try to go over to see Scott Chadwick's Clayton team, but that's a 7:30.
That's
a good hour away though for me.
Yeah, that's probably the best game that I see here.
Yeah, I agree.
Should be competitive, and two very good football teams. So
I'm talking about overall competition. That East Wake Nightdale game might be a pretty good one. Those teams are fairly easy.
Yeah, that's the only other game.
Most of these are blowouts, though.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, most of these games I would just not waste my time.
Well, Dale, we've been out here for about. Here are some more games. That Wallace Rose Hill James Keenan game. Oh gosh, I'd love to go to that. Dale, I've been to one of those games. I went with a guy named Brian Castine about 10 or 12 years ago.
I know who he is.
He's a good friend of mine. He's a James Keenan alum, but now he does a lot of athletics for the Wallace Rose Hills team. So he's a turncoat, but he's still a great guy. That would be a great game to go to. Princeton will beat Rosewood. I imagine Lewisburg will beat Wake Prep. Oh, here's one for you. That West Craven Eastern Wayne game, that would be a game to go to. That will be a very competitive one. I think West Craven will win, but it's one of those things that Eastern Wayne's good enough that they could pull the upset. But good game.
West Craven Eagles?
That's correct.
Yeah. I just try to make sure I can associate schools, mascots with the schools.
I gotcha. Well, Dale, I know we've done an hour and a half. I was going to see if you had any closing thoughts for final thoughts.
Gosh, I hate to keep going on and on about this, but, based on the game that I attended tonight, a very, very high-profile game, I'm looking for what extraordinary circumstances are. So, CMS, if you happen to see this, how about explaining extraordinary circumstances to us? A lot of us would like to know. I talked to a handful of people tonight, and about the game that I was at, which should have been a high-profile game, and without question, the crowd was just overwhelming, and even the Huff crowd turned out. I think they almost filled up the visitor side, which was a little bit of a surprise. So, Jim, that's just it. I don't mean to harp about it, but here in my world of high school athletics, this is playing too big of a part because of the perception that's being developed. And
Right.
I would like to knock down perception, and I prefer facts. You know that about me. I
know. You're a pragmatist. You believe in pragmatism, and you're against conspiracy theories just without any proof or evidence. We're just speculating, and
Exactly.
the big thing is right now is we don't want people to come up with the wrong conclusions, but we want people to have the facts to come up with conclusions.
Exactly. I don't want to be drugged into creating a conspiracy theory, which is what I'm doing. I'm in my head. I'm developing this whole perception of it being potentially racism that's driving this. And
Right.
I don't want to do that blindly. I hate that. I want facts. So prove that wrong. Prove this perception wrong.
Just transparency. That's all we ask for. Transparency.
Exactly. So next week's going to be fun. I think I talked to Langston today, Jim, about Thursday and Friday.
Okay, and maybe Wednesday.
Oh, we're definitely doing Wednesday.
Okay.
That's our thing, man.
And then will we do a selection show on Monday when they finally release the brackets? Or
they finally released the brackets, exactly. So we got a bunch of content that'll come up next week, and we'll have linemen on next week. Certainly, nobody's wanting to submit them, but I saw some good linemen play tonight. So we got our Monday show, which is mainly the other guys interviewing players of the week. The main show, our OT show, and we're going to have 2 post-game shows. That's
Thursday and Friday.
I hope you're up for that, Jim. I didn't turn it down.
Well, that Thursday is going to be a very abbreviated one for me because I have to work the next day. But
well, it's very abbreviated, period, because there's not a lot of games.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Probably, I don't expect we'd even have to go an hour. We'll see, but I expect it to be a lot shorter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, from Jim West and Dale Ross and countless others that have helped us out tonight, thank you so much. We'll be back with you later on this week or next week with Talking Preps. So until then, take care. See you.